Ancient Egypt is one of the most fascinating and enduring civilizations in history, built along the fertile banks of the Nile River and characterized by a culture, religion, and political organization that have influenced the world for millennia. With over 3,000 years of history, Egypt saw the rise and fall of great dynasties, the construction of extraordinary monuments, and the succession of events that made it one of the most powerful civilizations of the ancient world. The history of ancient Egypt begins around 3000 BC, when the first agricultural communities along the Nile joined together to form two great kingdoms. Upper Egypt, located in the south, and Lower Egypt, located in the north. King Narmer, also known as Menes, unified the two kingdoms and became the first pharaoh of a unified Egypt, founding the city of Memphis, which became the capital of the new kingdom. This unification marked the beginning of the first dynasty and the consolidation of a centralized power led by a divine ruler, considered the representative of the gods on earth. One of the distinctive elements of Egyptian civilization was precisely the role of the pharaoh, seen not only as an absolute monarch, but also as a being of divine nature, responsible for maintaining the cosmic order, known as Ma'at. The stability of the kingdom depended on his ability to govern wisely, ensuring the prosperity of the lands and the protection of the people. The Old Kingdom and the building of the pyramids. The Old Kingdom period, about 2700 to 2200 BC, was a time of great stability and development, during which the pharaohs commissioned some of the most extraordinary works in human history. The pyramids. The oldest of these is the Step Pyramid of Djoser, designed by the architect Imhotep, but the most famous are undoubtedly the three pyramids of Giza, including the largest, the Pyramid of Cheops, considered one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. The Old Kingdom was characterized by a highly centralized administration, with the pharaoh at the top and a well-organized bureaucracy that managed the distribution of resources, the collection of taxes, and the administration of justice. However, at the end of the period, central power began to weaken due to famine, internal revolts, and the growing autonomy of local governors, leading to the so-called First Intermediate Period. The Middle Kingdom and territorial expansion. In 250 BC, after a period of instability, Pharaoh Mentuhotep II succeeded in reunifying Egypt, starting the Middle Kingdom 250–1650 BC. This period saw a cultural and political renaissance, with a strong development of trade and territorial expansion. Egypt consolidated its dominion over Nubia, rich in resources such as gold and precious stones, and strengthened contacts with the Near East. The Middle Kingdom was also a time of great public works, such as the construction of canals and dams to improve irrigation and prevent flooding of the Nile. However, towards the end of the period, the country entered into crisis due to foreign invasions. Around 1650 BC, Egypt was invaded by the Hyksos, a people of Asiatic origin who introduced military innovations such as the horse and chariots. The Hyksos settled in the Nile Delta region and ruled part of the country for about 150 years. However, around 1550 BC, Pharaoh Ahmose I managed to defeat the Hyksos and re-establish the unity of Egypt, thus inaugurating the New Kingdom, the era of maximum splendor of Egyptian civilization. The New Kingdom and the expansion of the empire. The New Kingdom, 550–70 BC, was characterized by great military and cultural expansion. The pharaohs of this period, such as Thutmose III, Ramses II, and Hatshepsut, transformed Egypt into a superpower of the age, conquering territories in Nubia, Syria, and Mesopotamia. Under the reign of Ramses II, Egypt clashed with the Hittite Empire in the famous Battle of Kadesh, which led to the signing of one of the first peace treaties in history. It was a period of great artistic and religious flourishing, with the construction of grandiose monuments such as the Temple of Karnak and Abu Simbel. However, around 1100 BC, the pharaonic power began to weaken due to internal revolts, foreign invasions, and economic problems. This led to the Third Intermediate Period, during which Egypt was divided into several kingdoms and subjected to invasions by the Assyrians, Nubians, and Persians. The invasion of Alexander the Great and the Ptolemaic period. In 332 BC, Alexander the Great conquered Egypt and founded the city of Alexandria, which became one of the most important cultural centers of the Hellenistic world. After Alexander's death, his general Ptolemy took control of Egypt, founding the Ptolemaic dynasty, which ruled until Roman times. The Ptolemies promoted the development of the arts and sciences, building the famous Library of Alexandria, but their power was often threatened by internal struggles and the growing influence of Rome. The last ruler of Ptolemaic Egypt was Cleopatra VII, one of the most iconic figures in history. She attempted to preserve the independence of her kingdom by allying herself first with Julius Caesar and then with Mark Antony, but the defeat against Octavian, the future Emperor Augustus, marked the end of the Egyptian kingdom. After the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, Cleopatra took her own life and Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire, definitively ending over 3,000 years of independent Egyptian history. Despite the political demise of ancient Egypt, its legacy lives on today. Its extraordinary buildings, religious beliefs, and culture continue to be studied and admired around the world. The pyramids, temples, and hieroglyphics continue to tell a story of power, ingenuity, and ambition, making ancient Egypt one of the most fascinating and influential civilizations in human history.